Hey guys, today I am here in Selma, Alabama at the Memorial Park, and this is Columbus.
Hey.
And he's going to talk to you guys about what Memorial Park is all about.
Awesome. I want to thank you, Jenny, first off, just coming here to Memorial Park. This beautiful Monday. Hot, but still beautiful. Memorial Park was established in 2001. And of course, over the years, the park has really remained pretty much still a very popular place for people to come. They're looking for the history of the people that we've fallen in the right to fight for the right to struggle, for the voting rights struggle. And this mural over here is a very powerful mural. It's actually have people on this mural that you may know some of them, you may have read about them. Started first with Jonathan Daniels. He was actually from New Hampshire, came down from New Hampshire. He was in theology school, and there he came to Selma because he wanted to help out with the actual voting rights struggle. And unfortunately, he had to go back, and he began to have reservation about that, feeling like maybe he let people down. So he began to decide that he would need to come back to Selma. So he talked to his professors and his dean of students to allow him to come back to Selma and to go back and take final exam. And of course, here in Selma, he was actually put in jail in Lowndes County. And from there, he was with a black lady by the name of Ruby Sale. And all of a sudden, he was let out of jail without any warning. And he was walking out of this remote rural area. And Miss Ruby Sale wanted to go inside the store, buy a soda or water or something. And actually, this cop or ex-deputy held a gun on him and pulled the trigger. But Jonah Daniel had enough time to jump in front of Miss Ruby Sale and take the blast. You know, and she started a foundation named after Jonathan Daniel. So he is definitely one of the heroes of not only of this park, but throughout the people that know about the struggle of voting rights. And of course, Vallow Craig Luosa, I hope I'm not stretching this out too long.
No, you're fine.
But definitely she was actually from Michigan, actually. And she left her 5 kids because she was so moved by the voting rights struggle that she felt compelled to come here. And when she did come, she was actually driving some marchers back from Montgomery after March 25th, after they had made the march from Selma to Montgomery, which was 5 days, which was 54.1 miles. And of course, she had people in the car with her. One gentleman by the name of Leroy Martin, a black gentleman, talk about how all the blood was over him because she was shot and killed by the Klansmen. And the crazy thing about it is that there was an FBI informant in the car with the Klansmen. He was trying to infiltrate the Klans. So had he said something, it would have killed him as well. So he couldn't say anything. But his testimony did lead to their conviction, but to be overturned by an all-white jury, which was normal back then and back in the 60s. And of course, we know the faith of Dr. King at the Lorraine Hotel, very powerful and focal point of the entire movement. But of course, Reverend James Reed was a powerful figure as well. He was born in actually Kansas and moved from Kansas to Baltimore, where he became a Unitarian pastor. And once he became a Unitarian pastor, he moved to Baltimore and started working with inner city youth. And Dr. King, right after Bloody Sunday, called for marches around the world, clergy to come to Selma. And so he obliged. But only to be killed right there on Washington and Selma Avenue out of this restaurant called the Silver Moon. Him and 2 other guys was there when it was coming out. And they was approached by these Klansmen that was frequenting all-white restaurant. And they approached him and they literally beat him to death. He died a couple days later from his wounds. He was brain dead. Then, of course, Jim Lee Jackson. Jim Lee Jackson is actually in a town called Marion, about 30 miles southwest of here in Selma. He was actually protesting in a march, him and his mother and his grandfather, when they were descended upon by the troopers. And they started attacking them, and from there, Jim Lee Jackson and his family ran into Max Cafe for refuge, and it was followed by the troopers, and they started attacking his grandfather first, and then they started attacking his mother, and of course, Jim Lee Jackson was a veteran as well, served his country, but he's, like any man would do, get in front. And that's when the trooper shot him in the stomach. And he died a few days later in this hospital called Good Samaritan Hospital. It's about 7 blocks up on Broad Street. But nevertheless, though, that's a little bit about these people that actually was on the bridge or either some part or another connected with the struggle for voting rights. So that's a little bit about that. And of course, over here is the tomb of the unknown slaves and tomb of the unknown soldiers. A lot of people don't know, but there was way over 200,000 blacks that fought in the Civil War. Some were slaves, some was freemen. Over 40,000 was killed. Never ever to be acknowledged, or some of them was never really properly buried. So in memory of them, in honor of them, we have these tombs of unknown soldiers. And of course, we have the memorial, the monument over here. Basically talks about each and every one actually teaching their generation about the history of Bloody Sunday, what happened, and we build a monument. We tell our generation, and our kids tell their generation, and together we build a monument. So that's the pretty much symbolic gesture of that monument there. So that's a little bit about the history there. I mean, if you walk with me, Jenny, I want to share one thing with the people here. Now, a lot of people maybe not be aware of this, but if you could look down about 200 yards to your left, if you can put the camera out there, Jenny, it's actually a red, pinkish looking building. It's to your left. If you can see that building, it got on the side of it, car wash. If you were to go into the middle of the road, that is where the troopers and the county sheriff intercepted the marches. The movie, Selma had us actually lined up closer to the bridge because they wanted to highlight the bridge. But in reality, they actually made it past the bridge. They were trying to get to Montgomery. Of course, Wallace had told Al Lingo that they must not march to Montgomery at any cost. Most people may know Wallace. He was a governor. He was a segregationist, racist, but nevertheless, Jim Clark, you may have heard of him. He was actually sheriff of Dallas County. He was also he was a terrorist and beat people, used cattle prawns to shock them, billy clubs. So when he heard that Wallace said they must not march, he kind of upped the ante, so to speak. He began to deputize other young white men, giving them badges and weapons, and so they was ready to beat somebody that day on March 7, 1965. So when Jose Williams and John Lewis, who are the two middle people in that monuments over here, was actually part of SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. They led a band of about 600 people over the bridge. And when they got to where the troopers were, by then they had brought the horses out from underneath the bridge and brought them out as a little road that leads to the back here, and it brings you all the way out onto the highway. Well, the horses was there then, and of course, Jose Williams was trying to be, I guess, pragmatic, trying to negotiate. He said that, can we talk? That when the trooper said on a large bullhorn, there'll be no talk had. You got 2 minutes to disperse. But according to my uncle, it was only like 30 seconds. They wanted to beat somebody that day. And so they commenced the beating. And my uncle actually suffered an eye injury, left eye, on that bridge. And I asked him, I said, Uncle Willie, how bloody was it on that bridge? And he said, what's as bloody as you guys say it was? And I didn't say it to offend, but rather I was seeking for knowledge. He wasn't offended by it either. He said, I'm glad you asked. He said, the bridge was very bloody. He said, my shirt was soaked in blood. He said, blood was all along the road, especially on the bridge. He said, why do you think they call it Bloody Sunday? So that humbled me. So out of respect for my uncle, Willie Thornton, I come out here, I cut the grass, pick up the paper, because my uncle always said it's not enough to come and see the history. He said, when you do that, y'all, and you think you're doing is gawking, but rather you have to have skin in the game. So with that, I started taking care of the part, and now, I feel like, it's an honor for me to be able to do that, because my uncle always told me, when I used to complain sometimes, he said, you got to realize that you got to be the example you want everybody else to be. Not only that, though, but rather, people died so you can have the right to vote. So the least you should be doing. And that humbled me, and so that's why I'm out here today, and that's why I'm able to meet Jenny, which I'm so lucky to meet her and her family. They're really awesome. And guys, tune in and to anything she's putting out, because she's really seemed like a person that really got hearts in the right place. She mentored young ladies with the Cub Scout, the Girl Scout. So I'm just happy to be in her presence and for her to be here at the park. So thank y'all for coming, and I hope I shared something with you guys that maybe somehow or another may enlighten you a little bit.
Well, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.